Pelosi backers feel vindicated after tumultuous stretch. Call them the Democrats, who argued during the speaker race last fall that Nancy Pelosi was the right and perhaps only person who could lead the caucus in the tumultuous Trump era, say they have been vindicated. The California Democrat, these people say, deftly negotiated a 2-year budget deal with President Trump that averted deep cuts to domestic programs beloved by Democrats. She steered her and her leadership team brokered a tentative truce between warring factions of her large and unruly caucus, the progressives and moderates, ensuring that Democrats head into the long August recess unified against Donald Trump. On Friday, those not after the 2018 midterm elections that handed Democrats the majority, a bloc of insurgents led by Representatives Tim Ryan DOI. In the first 7 months of her second stint as Speaker, Pelosi proved her mettle, besting Trump in 2 key negotiations this year. After a 35 and just last week, Trump agreed to a $2.7 trillion deal that averts deep cuts to defense and domestic spending and avoids the need to lift the debt ceiling until after the 2020 election. With a reputation, added Republic. Gregory Meeks D. Part of Pelosi's strategy in the first 7 months of the new Congress has been to protect vulnerable centrists like O'Halloran and freshman representatives Abigail Spanberg. That's why Pelosi has pushed back so aggressively against progressives who've been leading the charge on launching an impeachment inquiry into Trump. She knows it would be. The Speaker caught a break this week when Special Counsel Robert Mueller's shaky, at times halting testimony before Congress seemed to sap momentum for the impeachment effort. Some Democrats, just a handful of House Democrats, signed on to an impeachment inquiry following Mueller's appearance, giving Pelosi and her at-risk moderates some space as they head into the 6-week summer recess. Just
drop top smoking, no cooking the hot bar. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,